Hello, welcome to Old Nerd Reads Indie Comics. This is episode 3, and this time I read The Curse of Dracula from Dark Horse Comics. Now, I think that an argument can be made that companies like Dark Horse and Image are big enough at this point to not be considered indie comics. But back when these were printed, Dark Horse was still a Dark Horse publisher. They were still smaller. This came out in '98, and this is by the team of Marv Wolfman and Gene Colan, who had an incredibly popular run on Dracula for Marvel Comics in the 1970s into the early 1980s. Had a long, very popular run. Very, very well respected, beloved run. I have not read those. I would like to someday and hope to someday, but as of right now, I do not own any of them, any of the single issues. I'm sure there's some nice collected editions out there, and that's probably, if I ever do read them, that's probably how I'll do it, through a trade paperback of some kind. But this came out in '89. It is not a continuation of Wolfman and Colan's Marvel Dracula run. It's just a brand new Dracula story, and it's actually quite good. It's too bad it's only 3 issues. You could tell that they really had to cram it in, and the first 2 issues is instead of a letters page, Marv Wolfman just writes some text about his reasons for doing the series. He didn't want to do another Dracula series after the Tomb of Dracula for Marvel. He didn't want to just do it just because. He wanted to have a good reason. And I forget what the big reason was that got him going. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to figure it out quickly enough to not bore everybody listening to death, but this is another spin on basically the old Dracula story, the original Bram Stoker story, I should say. Dracula in the modern day, and there's a team of vampire hunters, and this is the team. They have a driver. Then you have the Van Helsing character, who is a grandson of Van Helsing. You have kind of a Blade character, but this time it's an Asian black woman whose name is Hiroshima. And then you have a character, Vladimir, I believe is his name, or Nikita. He's an ex-KGB Russian. He's basically a special ops type person from Russia. This is the vampire hunting team, and we pick up with Jonathan Seward's from the original Bram Stoker novel, his great-great-grandson being attacked. And we find out later on that he is also hunting these vampires, and the team saves him from the attack. And this series is pretty brutal, very violent, a little sexy. The good old days when Dark Horse was publishing Star Wars stuff. I didn't read nearly enough of the Star Wars tales that Dark Horse put out. They did a lot of Old Republic type stories that took place long before the events of the original trilogy of movies, and that just didn't really appeal to me at the time, so I didn't really hardly read any of it. Unless it had Han, Luke, or Leia in the story, I basically ignored it. And now I'd like to go back and read some of that stuff. Starship Troopers. But yeah, this is quite violent. This hanging up this vampire to either spill the beans on where his master Dracula is hiding out in his plans, hang them up from a light post, and you can hang there and tell us, and we'll let you down and kill you quickly, or you can hang there until the sun comes up and burn, and that's the road this vampire chooses. So, like I said, it's quite violent. But here we find out that the Jonathan Seward character is kind of also a vampire hunter, like this team. But we find out that Dracula is a sex scene. You wouldn't think there'd be a sex scene in a comic like this, but there is. It's not, X-rated or pornographic or anything, but basically Dracula is behind a politician that is running for the presidency, and that's Dracula's evil scheme in this story. And oh yeah, remember when Frank Miller was doing Sin City comics at Dark Horse? Those were great. I have a bunch of those. Those were a lot of fun back in the day. All the Aliens and Predator crossovers they did. This one's artwork is by Eduardo Russo. I'd like to get a hold of this. Eduardo Russo is one of my favorite artists. Kind of sexy. Sex and death. So yeah, this is a very much more adult-oriented story for sure. I don't know how adult-oriented the old Tomb of Draculas were for Marvel. They came out in the magazine, so they possibly could have been. But this touches on it a little bit. So in the first two issues, like I said, Marv Wolfman writes text pieces about his reasoning and everything behind doing this new series and getting together with Gene Colan again. But he's asking readers to please write in and request more. And I don't think there are any more Dark Horse Dracula comics or series. I think he was kind of hoping to go the Mike Mignola Hellboy route, where Mike Mignola just was so popular, Hellboy was so popular that he just kept doing like 4-issue series here, one-shots there. I think still to this day, Dark Horse publishes Hellboy material. So I kind of think that that's what Marv Wolfman and Gene Colan were hoping to do, but it just didn't happen. Must be there wasn't enough reader interest. And that's too bad, because this was even though truncated and abbreviated and jammed into these 3 issues, it's still a good story, still entertaining. The artwork by Gene Colan is fantastic. Marv Wolfman, of course, great writer. So I'm sure you can find this probably for very little. I doubt this goes for much money, but fun read, fun story, nice addition to your collection. Like I said, artwork, the paper quality, the story, very nice top shelf presentation. So if you can find this in your local comic shop or in the long boxes at the comic convention, pick them up, because I'm doubting you're going to pay more than, you're going to pull this out of the 50-cent bin, the dollar bin probably, and probably find it in pretty good condition, because like I said, the paper quality is very good. So they're very durable. They aren't going to get creased or folded too easily or bent. So you can find them in good shape. I highly recommend The Curse of Dracula from Dark Horse Comics, 1998, from Marv Wolfman and Gene Colan. Please comment down below if you know any more about this, if there were more series produced after this one. I don't think there were, but please let me know if you know. And otherwise, like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you watching. Stick around for more comic book videos, and I'll see you then.